Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a wonderful time. It's just me today. Carlos is dead, and Rios, we still don't know. But, while we find out in the meantime, let me welcome our guest today, Mr. Daniel. The answer is 42. What's up, man?
How we doing, Poppy?
Hey, man, we're here. Tell me what looks better. Like, do you want to be like this close, or do you think this is better?
I mean, I already got a really big head, so I mean, it's really kind of up to you.
Bro, you're talking to me every time I go to the hat store. I'm always having to go to like the biggest, what the biggest
Right,
size is.
dude. Same here with the big head, and then I also have really long hair, so I mean that adds to it. So I get those oversized hats fit just right on
See, for me, they barely like. Look at this thing. I'm on the last two things on
me. I
here.
got the last two
I'm on the
rungs.
last two, dude.
We'll just call
Anything,
you Big Brain. That's okay.
yeah, anything tighter than this, I'll just pass out. Like I just can't do this.
It's constricting. I get it. I get it, my man. Big brain. That's okay. We got big brains. That's all right.
It's all good. So let me just do this real quick. Let me just put so people know
Boom.
that's your
Appreciate you.
Twitter right there.
Yes, sir.
Some of the homework I have to do when Carlos doesn't show up. Anyway,
I appreciate it. I appreciate the love, man.
so how you doing today, man? Tell me.
I'm doing great. I mean, got to watch some XFL. That was interesting.
So, so like I love the XFL. Do you guys have a team over in Colorado?
No, we do not have a team. I've been debating. I might adopt Wade Phillips's team because I just love the son of bum,
Okay.
Bronco. Longtime Bronco fan. I remember him from DC, head coach, all those great things. Helped us win. Back in 2015. His defense, one of the greatest of all time. No fly zone. So I might pick that team. I really haven't decided on what team, but yeah, there's none really even close. The closest ones are down there in like Arlington and I think Houston.
So
So
let- so
that's
let,
the nearest one.
so let me ask you this: what's it like having a winning team? Uh, where you're from? What's it like having an actual competent football team historically? Anyway.
Well, I was going to say recently, I would not say that we are competent or winning, but historically, it's great. I'm a little older. I'm pushing 40, so I got to grow up on John Elway, the Duke. I got to see TD go out there and get 2,000 yards and lead us to the first two Super Bowls that we got to hang up there in Dove Valley. So it's really wonderful all up until about 5 years ago. Then everything went to hell.
If it
As
makes
soon
you
as Pat Bolin had to step down, man, it was over.
if it makes you feel any better, for the last 20 something years, it's been hell over here in Houston as well. Every time we feel like we're about to break through, something happens. Something always goes wrong. But that's just the way we do things in the NFL here in Houston. But going back to the XFL, Roughnecks,
Okay.
only undefeated team before the pandemic. And we should have hang a banner at NRG or something, dude. Like you have no ideas because I've been watching football for a very long time, but I wouldn't say that I've watched it hardcore like I have this past couple of years. Because like I'm more of a baseball fan myself. I'm more of a soccer fan myself. But I've always had love for the Texans. I've always like keep in touch with everything ever since JJ was drafted back in 2011. I feel like
Makes
that's really
sense.
I feel like that's really when I really started paying more attention. Like I've only been in America for the last 14 years, so that was 11 years ago that I started watching. So
Yeah.
not too bad, but the Roughnecks was a little fun experiment, I guess that just happened here, and I was all about it, man. My boy PJ Walker, man. My boy PJ Walker. Oh,
Yeah. He was nice. He was nice in the XFL. And he showed some good. I think he showed some
he's
decent
got
things
flashes.
in the Panthers with the
Yeah.
Panthers. Yeah.
You remember that, like what it was, like 60-yard throw, that like game-winning throw that he had.
Yeah.
I want to
To
say it was
DJ
like
Moore.
yeah, I think it was like early this season.
Yep.
It
Yeah.
was
That
like
was the one where DJ tore his helmet off and cost him the game after the touchdown.
yeah, man. But
Poor guy.
that's the only time I've seen a team here in Houston, a football team, be as dominant as as you would want them to be. But so you're a Broncos fan.
Especially for football capital of the world. I mean, that is Texas.
Yeah, but it's more of a college thing. I wish I wish we got like I wish we got to keep like I wish Texas got first pick when it comes to like the schools here.
I
But
got you.
I feel like that would be too overpowered.
Quite
Um
possibly.
so Broncos fan, right?
Oh yes, lifelong.
Lifelong. I mean, I would say that I'm sorry, but like you said, you're at least won something in the past.
And we got 3 rings, so hey, there's something.
It's three more than we have.
There
For
you
now, Bryce Young,
go. For now.
2023.
Hey, D'Amico Ryans, I like D'Amico. Like, if the Broncos wouldn't have gotten Peyton, I would have preferred D'Amico. Like, D'Amico Ryans, I think is going to be legit. He's probably the best coach I've had since Gary Kubiak, without a doubt.
Definitely, definitely. But getting back to that though, do you think so? As a Broncos fan, were you more of a Sean Payton fan? Like, do you want him instead of D'Amico, instead of anybody else?
I wanted Sean more than D'Amico, really, I wanted an offensive mind that was going to be able to fix Russ. And really, the only one I saw out there with any real tangible evidence that you can say, yes, this guy could do it, was Sean Payton. I mean, you see what this guy has done, and he's got a type. The man has drafted one quarterback in his entire career, Ian Book, 5'11 quarterback. The only other quarterback he had was Drew Brees, 5'11 quarterback.
Yeah.
Now he's got Russell Wilson, a 5'11 quarterback. All mobile guys, all shorter. He was a 5'11 quarterback in the NFL at one point, Sean Payton was. So he's obviously got a type. And if anybody can fix Russ, it's Sean Payton. So I was on the Sean train from day one. Since the day after Christmas when Nathaniel Hackett got fired, I had said it then, and I stuck with it. And my sources all said the same thing. Sean Payton was number one. It was pretty much Sean or bust. Like, I hate saying that because that also, gets into the weeds of, did they actually give D'Amico a legit shot? I think they did because they weren't sure they were going to get Payton because they didn't really have much draft capital to give up.
Right.
Like, I can't believe that they only had to give up a first and a second, and they got a third back. Like, I don't think people really talk about how good George Payton is, the GM, on these deals. I mean, he only gave up a couple of first rounders, a couple of second rounders, and some also rans for Russell Wilson. Then he gives up a first and a second and gets a third back to get Sean Payton. And for everybody that's freaking out about, the Broncos F them picks, they don't have any picks forever. They got a first round pick next year. Like, all of these picks run through and they're done with them this season outside of the second rounder that they sent to New Orleans next year. So for everybody freaking out about all the picks, and even with all the picks gone, they still got 8 picks before compensatory picks are given out right now. So George Payton knows what he's doing. I trust in Payton, all 3 of them in Denver.
Yeah, I feel like the reason why a lot of people were clowning on the front office for the Broncos was because of what we saw on the field, right? Like, because Russell struggled this year. But I feel like if he would have had like an okay season, not even like a great season, but I feel like if he would have had an okay season, maybe a good run of games, people wouldn't have been so like, oh, we lost all these picks, or like, oh, we gave up too much for this and that and that. And going back to the Sean Payton thing, like, because there were rumors, there were talks about maybe the Texans acquiring Sean Payton. And as much as I wanted an offensive-minded coach like you, and my other co-hosts will tell you, like, I was always on like, no, I'm tired of Lovie Smith. Like, I'm tired of all these defensive-minded head coaches, and like, I don't care how decent we can look defensively at times if we cannot put points on the board. If our whole plan is just hand the ball over to Pierce so he can try to like run through like 11 guys every single play, or or just Davis Mills just throwing 3 feet to the ground next to him just to like miss. Like, I don't want to play like that. I don't want to play like that. And D'Amico was one of those things where even when we signed him, I watched the press conference and everything. I'm still skeptical about it. I'm hopeful, and I think that's on me. Like, as a Texans fan, I feel like I shouldn't be anymore, but I feel like they took that out of me when we traded Hopkins. The Bill
for
O'Brien
a bag of chips.
Yeah,
and David Johnson.
half an eaten sandwich, bro.
Right.
I'll take the bag of chips.
At least it was fresh, right?
Yeah, I feel like the Bill O'Brien years took years out of my life, so.
Oh,
But
I completely believe that. Oh my goodness. You talk about a train wreck. Like I think that he should have stayed as just a head coach. Like when he was just a head coach, y'all were pretty decent. Like it's when he
It was
started doing
okay.
the personnel crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was insane.
It
I
was-
agree with you wholeheartedly. And talking about having like the soul ripped out of you, like I know I'm big on football and all that, but baseball was my first love. And I am a Rockies fan, so y'all can laugh if you like. I understand it. I'm used to it at this point. But that's what I have to. The Montforts have ripped the joy out of me the way that the McCains have ripped the joy out of you in football. So I completely understand that, my man.
I feel that. But with the Miko, right? With the Miko, I'm trying to be hopeful in the sense, like, yes, he's a defensive-minded coach, but he was running one of the better defenses in the league with the 49ers. And,
Yeah.
he's an ex-Texans player. Like, he knows the city. He loves the city, and the city shows a lot of love for him, something that maybe we didn't have with other head coaches in the past. So we have a young team. We have picks. We have, I feel like we just need a quarterback, and then everything else would eventually work itself out. But I'm hopeful.
Consistency, yeah,
Exactly.
You can't give up. You can't bring in a new coach every single year, a new system every single year, and expect it to work. Like
as long as we don't run Tampa 2 anymore.
No, you will definitely not do that under the new. Yes, you're going to see a lot of 3-4s, a lot of blitzes, a lot of dime and nickel packages with exotic blitzes. You're going to have fun watching DeMeco Ryans' defense. If he does in Houston what he was doing in San Francisco, you should have a lot of fun watching that defense. But the key is going to be, like you said, the quarterback play, the offense, because you just saw it in Denver this year. You can have a great defense, but if you can't score points, it don't matter. I mean, yes, the Broncos did beat the weirdest score ever, beat the San Francisco 49ers 11-10 on the back of their defense. But that's just not sustainable as it was shown throughout the rest of the season. Like if you can't score, it does not matter how good your defense is. Same thing with the New York Jets. We saw it there. They were a little bit better offensively than the Broncos, but we saw whenever it was Zach Wilson out there instead of Mike White, that team looked terrible. But then you just put a competent quarterback, because Mike White, like a lot of people are like, oh, Mike White's the franchise. Like, no, he's not. He's just competent. He's just competent with a lot of talent around him. Yeah, it's not the same thing. And I saw that message from Carlos. That was funny. I'm not dead.
Yeah, I just seen that too. I'm like, I mean, unless you show up, I'm just gonna assume otherwise. Okay, so it looks like my other co-host Rio's just finally.
Hey, guys, crawled out of the ditch.
I was asleep, man. I'm tired, man.
It's all good, my guy. It happens.
How's you need some liquid IV, brother? Like, are you good? You drink some water?
I need water. Dude, I've been working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. I'm exhausted, man.
I didn't ask. Anyway. So we're over here just talking about how fun it is to be a fan of our teams right now.
Yeah.
Oh, there's fun involved? What?
Oh, loads of it, man. If you're a glutton for punishment, there's tons of it.
Oh, yeah. I'm a masochist. I love pain.
Right. There you go.
So like I was saying, like I feel like when the rumors were coming out, like maybe we were gonna get Sean, like as much as an offensive coach he is, I was just thinking like I don't feel like Sean is the right coach for us. I feel like we're 100% a rebuilding team, so I feel like we need a rebuilding coach. I don't think Peyton wants to go to a team to like rebuild and start over. I feel like the Broncos are kind of behind on what they want to do right now, but
they're kind of handcuffed at this point. They got
exactly. They just got to make it work. You guys just got to make it work with what you guys got.
We're not as handcuffed as people think we are.
Right. Like I feel like if you guys get a few pieces.
Yeah, offensive line really, and there's so many offensive linemen that are available that could be available. Like the biggest issues with the Broncos roster is the offensive line. Like I've seen things this year I haven't seen since Pee Wee. Like it was insane watching the Raiders game, watching Chandler Jones and Max Crosby both on the same play get a free run to the quarterback. I've never seen two offensive tackles on the same play. And it wasn't just like they were blocking somebody else. Like they were literally out there in nowhere, just like going like this, looking for a dude to block. And both their guys are smashing
Where are my glasses?
Russell Wilson.
Where are my
Yeah,
glasses?
exactly. I've never seen that in pro football. So if they can fix the offensive line, I think a lot of the other issues will fix themselves. I think getting back Timmy P is going to be the Michael Thomas of this offense. I don't think enough people give Tim Patrick the credit he deserves for being just a consistent monster of a catcher. He is still the only guy in the last decade that has went 2 consecutive seasons without dropping a single pass.
Right.
Until I believe it was week 13 last year was when he finally broke that streak. And so him coming back, adding that element to the Sean Payton offense that's going to come in and go to people's strengths. The problem with Nathaniel Hackett is he continuously tried to put square pegs in round holes. And then he figured, let me just shave down the sides and just slam it in, and that'll work. And it just doesn't work that way. Like, you got to play to your players' strengths. He tried to turn Russell Wilson into Aaron Rodgers. Russell Wilson is not Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
Russell
God
Wilson
knows he's
is
not.
Russell. No, but he's great in his own way. So, I love the way that Sean Payton put it. He's like, what I would do is I would ask Russell Wilson, what are his greatest hits, especially down in the red zone? And then I'm going to make sure that those lyrics are in the game plan every single week. And that is exactly what you want to hear from any coach. It is not about making players fit your system. It's making your system fit your players. That is the definition of a great coach. And that is why I'm so excited to see what Sean Payton's going to do. And there's going to be no nonsense. There's going to be no, oh my God, I just met Sierra, or I just met Condoleezza Rice, like Nathaniel Hackett was out here being all googly eyed. Like, that was the weirdest thing ever. I don't know if y'all seen that press conference where, Russ and Sierra were right there, and he's like oogling about Sierra. I'm like, dude, that is the weirdest, most cringe thing I've ever seen a coach do. Like, I'm so glad that we finally have an adult in the room. That's the biggest thing.
That's my wife. What are you doing, man?
You're my boss.
Here.
Keep my wife's name out.
Yes. Oh, man. I was waiting for the Will Smith moment before the Will Smith moment happened.
Right? Like,
I would have.
that was so cringe. Like,
it was so bad.
So,
Yeah,
so
we got
let
an
me-
adult, so I'm happy.
Let me ask you, with Sean Payton at the helm now, as a Broncos fan, what are you expecting? Because, the Raiders are looking for a new quarterback. The Chargers, they should be better than they actually are at the moment. So, like, you're in a tough place as the Broncos right now. So, what is the expectations going into next season and maybe a couple of years forward?
Going into next season, I see at least a winning season. I just don't see how Sean Payton and George Payton allow this team to be as terrible as they are. I know that people are talking about, they're handicapped. They don't have many picks. They only have $12 million in cap space. Well, they can actually make it closer to $50 million in cap space with about 4 moves, and they still have 8 picks. And the funny thing is George Payton, sorry, there's so many Paytons over here, but George Payton has actually been really, really good at finding guys in the middle rounds. You're talking about Baron Browning, Alex Singleton, the list goes on with these guys, Jonathan Cooper. He is really, really good at finding guys in the middle rounds. So I don't fear this offseason the way others people do, especially with the fact that the main thing they got to do is get more offensive linemen. And both free agency and the draft are stacked with offensive linemen. So their biggest need being one of the biggest things out there to get doesn't really worry me as much. So I see a winning season, possibly playoffs. I'm not so sure that they'd be ready for a deep playoff run, but they could surprise some people, especially if that defense takes off, if they get like a Rex Ryan. That's my hope. If Rex Ryan and Sean Payton are together on the same staff, I feel sorry for the rest of the AFC West, especially the quarterbacks with what Rex Ryan is able to do on the defensive end with those blitzes. He's going to get some people hurt. Like, you thought that Patrick Mahomes was limping at the end of this season. Wait till next season if Rex Ryan is out there, bro. He's going to send the house. It's going to be great.
He's going for those ankles.
Oh, all day, dude. You don't, he's got a foot fetish already. So, hey.
Oh on the ground.
Why not?
I mean,
Might as well. Might as well.
Makes sense to me.
Oh man, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like the Broncos were an interesting thing going into this past season because I thought,
high expectations.
yeah, I thought that
Very high.
I wouldn't say my expectations were like very high, but I
Oh, dude,
thought
I was way up here. I'm not even gonna lie. I drank all the Kool-Aid. I ate all the cookies. They were laced. I was out of it, bro.
They were
So-
space brownies to that point.
Yes. I was on the moon with everybody, bro. I was right there with them. I ain't gonna lie.
So how many games into the season do you think it took for you to be like, okay, maybe not something something's not working?
The moment Javonte Williams was confirmed to have a torn ACL, I knew it was over.
That was it.
That was it. As soon as the Grim Reaper was no longer out there to snatch souls like he did with Marlon Humphrey, leaving his booty marks all over Empower Field, like that was it for me. Especially after those first couple of games where I saw that the only way that Russ got any time was when the running game started to get going and they were able to push those safeties and linebackers backing up and move them around to where they couldn't just tee off and go after Russ. Because at the end of the season, everybody saw what I was saying was going to happen is that Russ was no longer throwing to receivers. He was throwing to spots on the field and just hoping that his receiver
Somebody would be
up
there.
underneath it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like he had zero time. I mean, this guy had guys that were pulled up off of the practice squad from other teams playing offensive tackle. It was a terrible situation. So if they can get the strength and conditioning figured out, because the past like 5 years, the Broncos have been like the most injured team. They can get that figured out, get the offensive line figured out. I think they have all the other pieces, especially when J. Will comes back. So I hate these thoughts of people like, oh, we're going to get Josh Jacobs. Like, don't pay running backs. I don't care. I don't care who they are. The only running back in the last like 20 years that's actually done something after getting paid is Derrick Henry. That's it. Everybody else has made their contracts look terrible.
I mean, but fuck the Titans though. So
I'm sure you have that sentiment.
Why are we talking about that poverty franchise right now?
No, there's
the one that was the 1 seed last year.
Adrian Peterson, he got paid. He's still MVP numbers.
Oh, I guess yes. Yeah. I guess there's 2, but still, that's a very small amount when you consider Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, Sean Alexander. If we really want to bring it back,
man, that's so far. Right there.
Yeah, like, and that's something that we've learned through the years. Like Pacheco, like during the Super Bowl, like he was playing like an MVP almost, and the guy doesn't make any money. So I'm just like,
no, he's like a 5th round pick or something like that.
Something like that. I think he's making like less than $1 million or something like that. It was ridiculous.
He's like almost like a rookie minimum deal. Like it's like basically $500,000. Like like you say, he's like making nothing.
And he was like the 3rd, 4th best player on the field the whole game. So
like, don't pay running backs, man. And mamas, don't let your boys grow up to be running backs. They don't need to be paid. Just don't do it.
just make him a kicker. Might as well. Just make him a kicker.
A kicker or a quarterback. That's your best bets.
Or a receiver.
Yeah, that's another good one. But I say kicker and quarterback because they're the ones that can't get touched.
Yeah, basically. They're not gonna, end up with like some kind of
CTE and stuff. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh man, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how does the city feel about Russ after the season they just had, and the body language and everything. Like, you think that with Peyton, do you think the city's now like back behind the team, or are their expectations like on the floor right now?
I mean, the Broncos.
You said you want a winning season next year. What are we talking about? Do you think this team can win you 10 games with how they played this year?
I do believe with the right moves. Like I said, they fixed the offensive line. I think 10 wins is an easy get for them. Yeah, I think that's a legitimate, thought process is to have them win 10 games if they figure out the offensive line. Everything else I think revolves around that. That's the big bugaboo. That's what they have to fix. So yeah, 10 wins, definitely doable if they make the right moves. Obviously, if they stay handicapped, they don't make the right moves, which is highly unlikely. They're going to be dirt. But as far as is the city behind the Broncos, this city will always be behind the Broncos. The Broncos will own
the franchise, yes, but this current group of players.
This current group, I believe that there's hope. I think that last year taught a lot of us to try not put all your eggs in one basket. Let's wait and see what happens when games are actually played before we anoint this team as being the greatest ever put together in Denver. So I think a lot of us are waiting with bated breath. We have a lot more hope. Now, again, like I said earlier, we have an adult in the room. We believe in the coach. We believe in this team. We believe in the staff that he's building. And he's got pedigree. So you gotta have hope at this point. So as far as being fully behind the team, I don't think so. But we're cautiously optimistic. I'll put it that way.
Do you think the Texans can have a better season than the Broncos next year?
No. And I don't just say that to be mean. I just say that because y'all have so many holes. I think that y'all will definitely be better. You will be fun to watch. But
please, that's all I'm asking for.
Yeah, you will be fun to watch. I believe
a small ass.
Yeah. So, like, especially if you're able to go out and swing, a Bryce Young, maybe add some talent in free agency, some exciting names. I think y'all could be a lot funner to watch. But as far as a better season than the Broncos, I don't believe that, simply because you just have so many holes. That whole roster really needs some work outside of maybe a couple of guys.
I just want somebody that throws more than 8 yards every play.
The hands, not 20 feet in the air.
It's
right,
either 20
feet.
It's 20 feet in the air, or he just spikes it. That's it.
You know what that sounds like? Drew Lock. I feel you.
I was gonna say Brock Osweiler, but yeah.
Either one. Well, I'd say post 2015 Osweiler, because when he was in relief of Peyton, he looked really nice. He had some moments. I mean, the only reason the Broncos made it to the Super Bowl was because Brock Osweiler kept them afloat in 2015. So, and I honestly think that if he would have stayed in that Gary Kubiak offense, he might have done some things. I think chasing the money really screwed him going to that terrible franchise that we'll leave unnamed.
But you know who you are, and fuck you.
I mean, y'all had to pay a team to take him from you. I mean, come on.
We did. God.
I've never seen that before. That's the only time I've ever seen that.
All right, look, we know he's terrible, but here's a bag load of money. Here's a truck. And
here's a bunch of picks.
And here's the Whataburger. Here's the Whataburger.
Here's what?
We'll put a Whataburger right outside the stadium.
Please.
Just take that contract.
Whatever it takes. Yeah, whatever it takes.
Oh, man. That was great.
It worked. And it almost panned out. Almost.
That close.
Yeah.
Right.
So we've talked a lot of Broncos, and I know you have to get going soon, but let me just ask you a question. As far as the Rockies go, because you and I were talking before we went live. As far as the Rockies go, how are you feeling? How are you feeling, man?
My first love. So it's hard. So it's like that abusive relationship that you just can't get out of. That like they beat you, and then they come back and they bring you all these great gifts, and you're just like, man, I still love you, so I'm gonna come back. So they brought us Chris Bryant. We got some teasers. We got a Zach Veen that looks a lot like the next Larry Walker coming up in the system. So they always got that carrot that just keeps you coming back. So that's kind of the doldrum that I'm in. As long as the Montforts own the Rockies, I can't stand them. They are destroying my team. Like I said, baseball was my first love. The first game I ever watched was my 8th birthday. My birthday's May 8th. And it was the game that Dante Bichette hit the walk-off extra inning home run. First game of any sport I ever remember watching. And I just fell in love with the Blake Street Bombers. And I've been in love with baseball ever since. And so it's kind of a love-hate relationship at this point. But I think the Rockies will be better this year. I mean, that's a really low bar to clear.
Yeah,
they only won 69 games last year.
Nice.
But I think right, very nice. But I think they'll get closer to that 75.
I thought he was just gonna say 70.
One more game.
We got one more.
Just one more. I'll take just one more.
That's what we call progress. That's what we call progress.
I mean, really, the main thing I want to see.
World Series.
Yeah, I know.
Back.
I actually wrote an article about how we should have fired our GM and hired Click as part of our offseason moves. You know, our big offseason move was bringing in Nolan Jones. Do you even know who that is?
Who?
Yeah, exactly. That's our biggest move.
Like who?
Right, exactly. Nobody knows who that is, and he's not even on a major league contract. He's on a minor league contract and might make it out of spring training. That's what we have to look forward to at Coors Field. No, but really, the thing I'm looking for, I want to see these new kids that are coming out. I want to see Ryan Rollison. I want to see Zach Veen, because again, that kid I've been in love with since college. I honestly believe he's the second coming of Larry Walker. He is an absolute monster in right field. He can hit, he can run, hits for power, hits for average, steals bases, plays all three outfield positions. Ezekiel Tovar, he could be the next great shortstop the Rockies have. He's a 5-tool type shortstop. Like, it seems that we just tend to pump out and then eventually trade off to another team, or just,
I was about to
go
say-
for nothing.
I was about to say
They're
they're gonna be Yankees in about 8 years.
Right, exactly.
The Yankees,
Yankees is Rockies East. You got it.
pretty much.
You know, but so that's what I'm hoping on, because I have no delusions that this team is going to even come close to the playoff. They would have to have an 07 lightning in a bottle Rocktober type of moment to make the playoffs, and even that is a very long stretch. So I'm just trying to hope and pray that I get to see some glimpses of a bright future going forward. That's what I'm looking for.
So let me ask you this: if you could have you make the choice, would you rather the Broncos make the playoffs or the Rockies make the playoffs?
The Broncos, because I don't want to give any rewards to the Monforts. They don't deserve it. They need to sell the team, like, plain and simple. Like, I'll probably never get access to that building because of the things I've said about the Monforts. Like, his name is Dick for a reason. That's what I got to say.
Well, all right.
I think it's a good place to end it, right?
Yeah, I feel like with that, that's a good one. That's a good one. So don't go anywhere. I'm just gonna end the broadcast and then we're gonna say goodbyes. For everybody, please follow our guy at The Answer Is 42. I'm sure that's an inside joke somewhere. I'm too foreign to understand it.
Several ways, yeah. Guardians Guide to the Galaxy and personal.
I'm listening.
The fuck was that? Did y'all hear that?
No idea, bro. I heard that too.
Okay.
That sounded dirty, and I'm not sure my wife would appreciate it.
Anyway, thank you guys, everybody. Thank you for my co-host Rios to wake up from his beauty sleep.
Hey,
And
I am beautiful, so I
think you need a few more hours, brother.
Pristine position.
I think you need a few more hours. And then thank you to our guests, our boy Daniel. There's two of us now, Rio, so get the hell out. Matter of fact, goodbye. Anyway.
That's all the time we have for him today.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll love to have you back next time. Hopefully, maybe after the draft and everything, maybe after some off-season moves, we'll get back together and maybe go over our expectations for our team. So we'll see. Hey, he's back.
Yeah, most def, man. Keep in touch. I'd love to come back. I had a great time, man. I appreciate y'all having me.
Always, brother. Always. So let me just play the outro. Goodbye, everybody. Peace.